Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 8 of Roll with Ramadan. Roll on Ramadan. Sorry, not Roll with Ramadan. We are here today with Dr. Laura Gibb. She is a she's a pediatrician, first of all, a doctor, and she's also a certified functional medicine health coach. So we asked her to come on and do a live for the moms that find it difficult to fast in Ramadan. So I've seen a lot of you even asking in our group and even asking on other groups about fasting, what can we do? Because obviously we do have to make up these fasts. I know a lot of us pay for them, so that inshallah we have the attention and eventually we will fast them. So I think that it's nice to hear about how we can make life a little bit easier for us as fasting, as nursing mums, and especially when we have little ones. So just a little bit more about Dr. Laura. She used to be a normal physician, right? Like a normal doctor, and she was giving out prescriptions. As you all know what we do, the big farm, they call it, don't they? The industry. And what Dr. Laura did was realize when she had children that she wanted to find a better way of living, like a more holistic form of living. And for an example, I can tell you that I use, for example, essential oils. Now, my husband has asthma, and this morning he actually didn't even ask me for his inhaler. He was asking me, where are the essential oils? That's how much I believe in this alternative therapy and alternative medicine, because it is so important to realize what we are actually putting into our bodies. And I'm not going to carry on talking, although I could go on and on forever. So, Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Laura, you there?
Walaikum salam.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're looking very forward to what you're going to say with us today. I'm extremely sorry for the words are not coming out of my mouth.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. So you can go ahead and do your presentation. And then if there are any questions, anyone, please do pop them in the chat. I'll be on YouTube with you and on the Facebook group, and I'll be passing on your questions to Sister Laura. So Bismillah, let's go.
Okay, thank you. Bismillah. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit today about fasting for nursing moms and moms with little ones. And then at the end, I'm also going to talk a little bit about if you have older children that want to start fasting, some ways to kind of make that easier. So Bismillah. So first of all, the question that most moms have is it safe? Is it safe for me to fast? Is it safe for myself? Is it safe for my baby? So they say that nursing moms should take in around 450 to 500 extra calories per day. So this is, something to take into account, on normal days when you may not be fasting, you need to be getting those extra calories, which may be difficult on normal days. So, just take into consideration on days that you're fasting, is that something that you're going to be able to do? Most experts agree that, like, if you're just fasting for one day, if it's just like one isolated day, that it's not going to impact your milk production at all or impair the health of either mom or baby if both are healthy before that one day of fast. But the problem comes with prolonged periods of fasting, which obviously, in Ramadan, this becomes an issue. So if you're pregnant, this prolonged fasting can impact your fetus, and it can impact your milk production if you're nursing. So there was a study that I found, which I thought was really interesting. It was done in 2006, and it was a study of mothers with babies aged 2 to 5 months who fasted during Ramadan. So they were having no food or fluids between 5 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. And in this study, they found that infant growth and macronutrient content of the breast milk was not affected, alhamdulillah. But they did find that levels of several nutrients, so your micronutrients in the breast milk, had decreased. So, for example, your zinc, your magnesium, the potassium, and the nutritional status of the breastfeeding mothers was also affected. So, many mothers, because of this, they may consider fasting, every other day or every third day. This may be an option for some moms. Of course, everyone is different, and it depends on the age of the baby, and many different factors, and where you're living. How long is the fasting window? Depending on what part of the world that you're in. So obviously, it's a decision that each woman has to make for herself. But this is something that a lot of women will try every other day or every third day, if it's too difficult for them to fast every day. So, what are the risks? So, there's basically two risks to fasting. Number one is that mom gets dehydrated. And then the second risk is that if the mother's dehydration is severe enough, then her milk supply can decrease. So the first issue, mom's dehydration, this is something which is, comparatively speaking, it's easier to deal with. Just when iftar time comes, she can just try to load up on fluids throughout the night, and it's, usually not as much of an issue. But the decrease in her milk supply related to this dehydration may be a bigger issue for a lot of fasting mothers. And some mothers have a hard time getting their supply back up, even though in the evenings they're trying to increase their fluid intake and, really load up on the fluids. It still may be difficult for them to get their supply back. So when a mother does not drink fluids for a day, the baby generally nurses as usual the day of the fast, but then often needs to nurse more often for the next day or two, which is going back to what I said previously about many mothers. They'll do like a every other day fasting so that there can be a chance for her supply to, get back up to normal, and those off days. So as I mentioned before, the age of the infant is really important. So, during the first 6 months when the baby's exclusively breastfed, they're not having any other foods or drinks other than the breast milk, then that's obviously going to be a different case than when the baby's older and taking solid foods. Okay, then another issue that has to be considered is if mom has any health conditions at the time that she's going to fast. So, for example, moms who have any sugar metabolism problems, so diabetes or hypoglycemia, which is low blood sugar, or other health problems, the fasting could obviously be more risky for mom if she's having these previous conditions and nursing at the same time and trying to fast. It may just be too much for her. So, obviously you need to consult your doctor if you feel that you might have any of these health issues that would preclude fasting for you. Okay, so I wanted to just give some tips if you do decide that you're going to try fasting. Like I said, talk to your doctor ahead of time if you're concerned about whether or not you should fast. Obviously, staying hydrated is really important. So, moms should increase their fluid intake before beginning their fast. So, definitely getting up for sahur and having a lot of fluid at that time, and then making sure to drink enough in the evenings. Just taking it easy. So during the day, limiting any intense exercise while you're fasting that might, lead to more dehydration. And then just listening to your body, really, looking out for any signs of dizziness or, extreme fatigue or anything like that that may mean that, you need to break your fast. Okay, so I wanted to just go over some signs of dehydration. So if you do decide to fast and you are a breastfeeding mom, what are the things that you need to look for in your baby? Obviously you're not physicians, and I'm not trying to, train you to be physicians, but these are just things that you can look out for, especially I think during these days with COVID, when it may be difficult to go out and see your doctor. If there's something that you're worried about, it's not so easy to get out and, get to a hospital or a clinic to see a physician. So, it's a good idea to, take note of these signs so that it's things that you can look for in your baby while you're fasting. So, first one is the soft spot on the top of the head when the baby becomes, this is called the fontanelle. When the baby starts to become dehydrated, this soft spot will become sunken in. The eyes can also become sunken. And when the baby cries, if they become dehydrated, they may not make as many tears as they would normally make, or even a lack of tears when they start to become dehydrated. Dry mouth, constipation or hard stools, fussiness or sleeping more than usual. Now, a lot of these that I'm mentioning here are like you wouldn't really see it unless the baby had a more severe dehydration. So, for example, the constipation is something that would come later. Here on this picture, you see at the bottom here, this poor skin turgor. So when you pinch a fold of skin on the baby, it's very, it returns very slowly to normal. That's something that you would see later on. The lethargy or weakness, the irritability, you might see that later on. But this next one about the wet diapers, this is something that you're going to see more early on. So it's something that's really important to pay attention to. So, of course, it's going to depend on the age of your baby. And, of course, every mother knows her own baby best. But for small babies, if they have fewer than 6 wet diapers in 24 hours, or diapers that stay dry for 3 hours, or urine that appears very dark yellow in color. So those are going to be signs that, those are earlier signs that the baby's starting to become dehydrated. And, like I said, that's going to depend. Obviously, an older baby, you wouldn't expect them to make that many wet diapers, but, I think every mother should be familiar with her own baby's normal habits. Cold hands and I wrote fasting breathing. I meant fast breathing or heart rate. Those are also things that would happen later on, with more severe dehydration. So the things that I would really look for at the beginning are the wet diapers and not making tears when crying, and the dry mouth. Those are all things that, the fussiness to an extent, those are all things that you would see early on. Okay, this is just to show you when I mentioned the soft spot on the top of the head, which is called the fontanelle. This is just some pictures here to give you a clear idea of what that would look like when it's sunken, and also the sunken eyes here. So those are just things to look out for. And so if you do decide to fast, I wanted to mention some herbs that you can use to support lactation. And a lot of these have been shown to increase the mom's milk supply. So the first one is fenugreek. This is probably the most popular one that you'll see. You can make a tea out of this. And just to mention that it may cause your milk, sweat, and urine to have kind of a strange smell. Sometimes they describe it as like a maple syrup smell. And it can also make your baby's urine and sweat have this smell. So that's just something, not to be alarmed about if you do decide to consume fenugreek. Blessed thistle and milk thistle is another one. Fennel, so you can either make a tea with fennel, or you can put it in food such as fresh salad, or you can saute it with other vegetables. Stinging nettle. This is one of my favorite herbs to use. It's very, very safe, for anyone really to take it. And the smell is, the taste is, in my opinion, is very pleasant. A lot of these herbs that can be used medicinally have kind of a strong taste that some people aren't used to, but I find that the nettle has a really nice taste. And actually nettle has so many benefits. If you just do a Google search and just type, the benefits of nettle, you're going to come up with, subhanAllah, so many benefits. It also treats anemia, which can sometimes be an issue with, new moms. So I really love to make tea out of nettle. You can add some little bit of ginger to it or some cinnamon. It's really delicious. Moringa, which is what they call the miracle tree, can help to support lactation. And that's for those of you here in Saudi. It's you see moringa trees growing everywhere. It's pretty easy to get the leaves from the moringa tree. Ginger and garlic and alfalfa are other ones that can be really great for lactation. So when you're cooking, just try to put ginger and garlic, in everything that you're cooking as much as possible. Okay, so these are some foods which are great for lactating moms to include in their diet to support their milk production. So we have papaya, spinach, and really any leafy green vegetables are going to be wonderful for this. Salmon, carrot juice, apricot, oatmeal, hummus, or really any legumes or beans. All that protein is really going to help to support mom. Brown rice, yogurt or kefir for the probiotics, help mom to have a healthy gut, and lots of water or herbal teas. Okay, so this is a lactation smoothie recipe that I found. This is from a blog, louisianabrideblog.com. And I haven't tried this, but it looks really delicious. So it's just cashew milk, which you could probably use, any kind of milk, almond milk or coconut milk, any kind of milk that you want. Spinach, oatmeal, flaxseed, almond butter, banana, and a scoop of chocolate protein powder. So you can just mix all that up in a blender. I think that would be really nice for sahur, to help keep you hydrated and also to support your milk supply. Okay, so I wanted to mention a little bit about, like, for those of you that have older children that want to start fasting, just some ways that you can, do that in a safe way. Many parents will start encouraging their child to begin fasting at about the age of 7, by getting him or her to maybe fast for a few hours a day and then gradually introduce him or her to all day fasting. And it's very important that you take your child's age into account so as to avoid, any illness or fatigue. So I think it's a good idea in the beginning to encourage him or her, maybe just fast until 10 a.m., depending on what time you wake up in the morning, 10 a.m., 11 a.m., just a few hours in the morning. And then you can gradually extend that to Dhuhr time. And then, when they become used to that, you can extend it to Asr time. And then eventually, inshallah, it can become a full day thing. But I think it's really important to do it gradually so that the child can get used to it, not just physically, but mentally as well. Okay, so if you have an older child who's fasting, you want to obviously make sure that they have a very wholesome, nutritious meal during sahur, so that will last him throughout the fasting period every day. So you want to try to include slow digesting, fiber-rich foods. So the examples of that would be whole grains, fruits and vegetables. And you want to try to discourage any overeating or like very spicy foods, because this can cause the child to have bloating and indigestion, and won't be a very comfortable day of fasting if they have a lot of these foods. You also want to try to avoid, I mentioned whole grains, so you want to try to avoid, the processed refined grains. So like white bread, white pasta, white rice, those kind of things, because they really just spike the blood sugar up very quickly. And then, you're kind of just on this roller coaster of blood sugar spiking up and down, which is not very comfortable. And don't forget to pack the rainbow into your child's meals as much as possible. So that's where they're going to get all their vitamins and minerals. And even white foods like garlic, onions, mushrooms, and cauliflower, they contain a lot of substances that are going to defend the body against inflammation, and really, wonderful to support health. And in the weeks and days before Ramadan, you can gradually cut down on your child's consumption of salt and sugar because those are just going to increase thirst and cravings. I think especially the sugar here. If you can, you may. I mean, I know now Ramadan is just a few days away, inshallah. But if you can try to decrease their sugar consumption, that's going to help their blood sugar to be more stable, and it will actually make the fast a lot easier for them, inshallah. And so if your older child is fasting for all or part of the day, you want to be especially sure to limit for both iftar and sahur any sugar, like I said before, or sugary drinks. So, a lot of sugar can hide out in these different kind of drinks that we have. So, you want to try to avoid that. Any obviously processed or fast foods, and like I already mentioned, the refined grains, the white bread, white pasta, and white rice. And you want to include lots of nutrient dense foods, so lots of veggies, fruits, complex carbs, protein, and healthy fat. So especially the protein and healthy fat, it's really going to help to keep the blood sugar stabilized so that, throughout the day of fasting, they're not going to get headaches and, feel really weak and moody and all of this. A lot of that is because the blood sugar is not stable. So having making sure that with each meal you have some protein and healthy fat can really help with that, inshallah. Okay, so that was my last slide. And I wanted to just mention, if you go to my website, which is drlauraskitchen.com, I have a lot of healthy recipes on there and tips. And I'm also a certified functional medicine health coach. So if you need any help with, trying to have a healthier lifestyle, you can book a free discovery session on my website. And let me just minimize this. Okay, let's see if we have any questions.
Hey, Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Laura. I've just sent you one or two questions on your WhatsApp. So one of them is to, if you can, share some tips for hair falling while breastfeeding. Do you have any tips for that?
Yeah, so when it comes to hair fall, it's really like it's kind of like a reflection of, it's very similar to your skin and your hair. The health of your skin and hair is a reflection of your internal health, whatever's going on inside. So it's really important to, number one, focus on eating, nourishing foods. Like I mentioned, eating the rainbow, having lots of green, especially the leafy greens and the healthy fats. That can really help. And, and if you have trouble eating the leafy greens, you can always hide it in a smoothie, or, there's ways that you can kind of make it easier to handle. And then, especially I find here in Saudi, but I'm sure that this is an issue in other places of the world, the quality of the water that you're using to take a shower can really affect hair loss. So, in many places of the world, or probably most places of the world, there's a lot of chlorine in the shower water, and that can affect your hair. So, getting a shower filter, can help with that. And there's there's also like some herbs that you can use to help prevent hair loss. But I know you just have to be careful with that, because if you are nursing, you have to make sure that whatever you're taking is not going to be, is going to be safe while you're nursing. But I think really the first step is focusing on your diet. So, especially getting enough protein, getting enough healthy fats. If you find it hard to get enough protein, you can always opt for like a whey protein powder that you can add to these, or for example, like a collagen, you can get halal collagen powders that you can just add to smoothies or to tea or coffee, or, whatever you're drinking. You just add a scoop of that, and that collagen will really help, with not only your hair, but your skin and nails and all of that as well.
Yeah. I think there's a few products out there for skin and nails mainly, aren't they, for the protein?
Yeah.
So maybe that would definitely help with the hair for sure. Yeah, thank you for that. So there's another sister, Shayla, who is asking. Sorry, that sister was Fahima, by the way. Sorry, I didn't mention her name. And now we have Sister Shayla. She's asking what amount of fenugreek should they have to bring back their milk supply or to increase it?
Okay, so the fenugreek is, alhamdulillah, it's a pretty safe herb to take. So, you don't really need to be too concerned about, the exact amount or limiting. But usually what you can do is just take like 1 tablespoon and put it in, like make like a tea out of it. So put it in,
Yeah.
like a cup of hot water and just leave it for maybe 5 minutes. And yeah, but I mean, like I said, it's a pretty safe one. So you don't really need to, inshallah, worry too much about, having too much of it, inshallah. I have actually on my website, I have a whole article about fenugreek. So you can, if you're interested in reading more about it, you can check that out, inshallah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I've put your link. So if anyone's interested in reading Dr. Laura's blog and her website, I've put the links in the YouTube description box. I've put them in the comments and I've also put them in Facebook. So inshallah, all of you, wherever you are, will be able to check the all of you will be able to click it, inshallah. I think Sister Laura is coming back in. I think she's here. There she is.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum. I know I'm very late, but I have listened with my ears as well. I was just parallel. I had to deal with something else. MashaAllah, tabarakallah, Dr. Laura. I really love what you said. I was listening. I said, oh, I want to really be there 100%, listening to absolutely awesome advices. To be honest, I was thinking, oh my God, I need to ask her so many questions. To be honest, mashallah, I really loved it. Thank you so much. And I see our audience is very active as well and asking a lot of questions. Maybe carry on with just a quick one. I'm not sure if you have you asked already the question about besides drinking, there was somebody asking about the headaches.
Yeah, I'm getting to that one. The next
I'm sharing it now. I'm sharing it with you. Sister Laura, can you see the question?
Yeah, thanks. I can see that. And before I start with this one, I just want to correct myself. When we were talking about the fenugreek, I just said 1 tablespoon and I meant to say 1 teaspoon. So you can, so 1 teaspoon in a cup of water. And really the amazing thing about that is within like 24 hours of drinking the fenugreek tea, you'll be able to see a difference in your milk supply. So it's very quick and subhanallah, it's very, very effective.
Yeah, when I had kids as well, for me the go-to was oats and fenugreek as well, because it helps with the kids for them to digest the food. Like, I don't know if you noticed that, but like with their digestion as well. So you can even give them a little bit of that water. Not with the herb in it, obviously, just the water that you get from there. And I used to do that when they were about 1, though, not before that.
Yeah. Okay, so this next one, besides drinking water, I still find myself dehydrated, dizzy, and getting headaches. Is there anything else I could do? One thing that because I have had an issue with this myself in the past, when I fast, I get very dizzy and lightheaded. And one thing that I started using, it's called Sole water. I don't know if you've heard of that before, but you basically there's a lot of recipes for it online, but you just basically take like a natural salt. So you can use like Himalayan salt, and I just take like a mason jar and put some water in the mason jar. And then basically you want to add enough of the salt so that the water becomes completely saturated in the salt. So basically what you want to see is you want to add enough so that it no longer dissolves in the water and it just floats down to the bottom. So what you can do is you can add it to I don't remember the exact amounts, but like I said, there's a lot of recipes online that you can check. But you just basically add the salt to the water and then you leave it overnight. And then the next day, ideally there should be some salt that sunk down to the bottom. Okay, and so that means that the water is fully saturated. And then what you do is I would do this at iftar time. You just take a very small, it's like 1 teaspoon, I think, very small amount, and you add it to like 8 ounces, a whole glass of water. You just mix it in and drink that. And that really helped me so much with dehydration and dizziness and lightheadedness and all of this. And, at the beginning I thought, oh, this sounds kind of disgusting, like drinking salt water, but it actually got to the point where I would start craving it. And I would be time to break my fast and I would just really want to have my Soleil water.
Yeah,
So,
it replaces the electrolytes.
What'd you say?
I said you're replacing the electrolytes in your water and in your body.
Yeah, and the Himalayan salt, it has so many.
I thought I was on mute. Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, so the Himalayan salt has so many nutrients in it, so it's really amazing for that. And then other than that, yeah, I think maybe just trying to keep your blood sugar balanced. So trying to avoid too much carbs at your sahur and your iftar, and trying to add some protein and healthy fats. So by healthy fats, I mean, for example, olive oil, avocado. I love to put avocado in my smoothie. Coconut oil, grass-fed butter or ghee, nuts and seeds or nut butter. So trying to include those healthy fats, and that will help to stabilize your blood sugar. And then inshallah, you won't have these headaches and dizziness and these types of symptoms.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. I really love it to hear again how important it is what we're actually eating. We had just the honor to have another live yesterday with another sister, and we were talking also about the nutritions we're taking in, the food we're taking in actually affects us massively. MashaAllah, and you just confirm it again with a whole absolutely awesome tips and tricks here, what we could do to feel healthy and fit and hydrated during Ramadan. So dear sisters, do drop your questions right now. We have a couple of more here. I'm going to share the next, Dr. Laura. It will be also quite interesting one here. And from this sister Fahima, will iron deficiency and vitamin D deficiency affect fasting while breastfeeding?
Okay. I think, yeah, the iron deficiency, if you're already, I guess it would depend on the severity of it, but if you are already, having some weakness and, some symptoms from the iron deficiency, then, the fasting is obviously going to possibly make those symptoms even more severe. I don't think a vitamin D deficiency should really, and that's something that inshallah, when you, in the evenings, after you have your iftar, you'll be able to take your supplements, both for I assume that sister that you're taking supplements for the iron and the vitamin D. So you'll still be able to take those in the evenings. I don't think that, because the main source of vitamin D is not really from our food. Although you can get vitamin D from food, but not a very large amount, and the main source is obviously from the sun. So I don't think fasting is going to make that any worse. In terms of the iron deficiency, that it's just going to depend on how your diet is, for sahur and iftar. I think as long as you're including enough iron in your diet and, like I said, taking their supplements, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. For the iron deficiency, really the best thing that I always recommend is liver. So if you can, once a week, if you can have a serving of liver, it's really the best food to help with iron deficiency. And, it has vitamin A, and it's just really amazing, like superfood. So maybe you could try once a week to, include that into your diet. A lot of people don't like the taste of it. So what I do is when I get the raw liver, I blend it up in the blender, and then I put it in ice cube trays, and then after it's frozen, I'll just take out the cubes of liver and I'll leave them in the freezer. And then whenever I'm cooking, like for example, anything with ground beef or even ground chicken, I'll just put like 1 or 2 cubes in, lasagna or anything that I'm making with ground beef. I'll put 1 or 2 cubes into it. Even like pizza sauce, I've hidden it in that before. And yeah, and then, you can't really taste it. And then you'll be able to, inshallah, get more iron. So I hope that answers your question.
I think it's absolutely amazing. And Sister Samira, Sarah, she's going to ask you the next question, inshallah. I just wanted to say to our audience here, mashallah, I see there are a lot of questions here, allotted for you, Dr. Laura, but we want to extend it too long, so we will take maybe another 1 or 2 questions. Please feel free still to drop your questions, and we will reach out to Dr. Laura and try to answer them later in a separate post, or maybe we do a separate live again with her. So please feel free to drop the questions.
Yeah, keep them coming, mashallah. This is obviously one of the most important lives, I think, isn't it, Laura? Because it's one that everyone's got questions about, and we're all looking for answers. So
absolutely. To be honest, it's very, very important, and because it's 3 days, and we want to make ourselves ready, maybe buying some stuff still before, not rushing around. So absolutely, I 100% agree. I can probably imagine we could sit here another 2 hours.
I think we could. Okay, so Shamala Khan has this question about what we should eat at sahur, keeping the Asian lifestyle in mind for working mums. So I'm guessing that she's talking about the Asian lifestyle in food, how we eat, and keeping that in mind for working mums. Maybe she's talking about not being able to make parathas in the morning. Dr. Laura, what do you think?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask is, what are the typical things in the Asian lifestyle? Like, what would you have for sahur? Do you know?
For me, my background is Pakistani, and as I was growing up, one of the sisters actually, Timmy, she's going to be doing, we're going to share one of her videos as well later on, but she actually said, imagine you woke up in the morning and what did you eat when you were a kid? And my mum and dad would make, especially on Saturday and Sunday, because that was our weekend, we would have parathas with egg, with this pickle called achar, lots of milk, and this beautiful desi chai, which is like, full of cardamom, cinnamon, like loads of things, mashallah. So that is, and then sometimes if you thought that was a bit too heavy, they would give you like plain yogurt at the end of it. And as you were talking, actually through your presentation, I kind of saw what you were saying, what you were recommending, and a lot of our food has got onion, ginger, and garlic. Like all of our curries contain onion, ginger, and garlic. So I think our Asian lifestyle, we don't really realize how much it actually has beneficial food in there. Like we have turmeric. Like turmeric is in every curry, every whatever we're cooking, usually we add it in there. So that's a really good anti-inflammatory as well, isn't it, Dr. Laura?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. And even when you said about the fenugreek, like we always, when you make masala chai, you actually add like all of these extra things in there. And I think, like you said, our lifestyle, although we think that it's really heavy and really extra, there are some beneficial parts of it. Obviously you wouldn't be having it every single day, a big heavy paratha in the morning, maybe that might be too much. But if you're a working mum, maybe I think Sister Shamala might be looking for, or you can just comment in there, Sister Shamala, I know you're listening, and let me know if you're looking for like quick and easy recipes because you're working and you want to just get everyone with a good, healthy, nutritious sahur without spending a lot of time in the kitchen, maybe.
Yeah. Is paratha, that's like a bread, right? Like a flat bread?
Yeah. It's like a flat bread that you cook with a lot of butter or ghee.
Okay. Yeah, well, go ahead.
Sorry, no, you just layer it. So you've got like the flour, you make like a dough, and then you put like a layer of butter in there, then you roll it up and you put some more butter, and then you roll it out again and put some more butter. It's one of those.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think, like you mentioned, a lot of the things that you said are, mashallah, very nutritious. I mean, when you mentioned the tea with the cardamom and, you know, so beneficial, the ginger and cinnamon and all those are really beneficial for the health. And I think with, you know, in a lot of cases, you can kind of take what you're already used to eating, but just kind of alter it and make it more nutritious and more healthy. So for example, I have on my website, I call it, the recipe that I have on there, I call it tortilla, but I think it's basically similar to, maybe not to paratha, but maybe to like a roti or something like that.
Yeah, roti chapati, yeah.
Yeah, and it's basically you soak the flour overnight before you make it. And what I like to do is so basically you just take your flour, your water, a little bit of fat, you know, olive oil or whatever you're using for your fat, and you mix it up into a dough, and you add a little bit of either apple cider vinegar or lemon juice, or you can use yogurt. Okay, you add a little bit of that to the dough, and then you let it sit out just at room temperature on the counter. You just cover it up really well, and you let it sit out overnight. And so they call this soaked wheat. You know, if you want to look online for recipes, you can just Google soaked wheat recipes. And that actually really helps to increase the nutrient content of the wheat and make it a lot easier to digest. So there's something in wheat called anti-nutrients, which is basically something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put there to prevent the seed from germinating, from sprouting too quickly. But the problem with those anti-nutrients is that it actually binds to the beneficial nutrients in the wheat so that we can't absorb it. So, you know, a lot of people are thinking, oh yeah, I'm having, you know, whole wheat this and whole wheat that, and it's so nutritious and beneficial. But if you're not neutralizing those anti-nutrients, your body's not going to be able to absorb all of those nutrients that are in the wheat. So yeah, so I mean, it's a pretty simple step. It just requires a little bit of planning ahead, that just like 12 hours before you want to make it, you just, you know, make the dough, and then you just let it sit, and then you just continue with, you know, rolling them out and cooking them as normal. Another option is like sourdough. You know, especially since COVID, a lot of people are, you know, getting more into bread baking and doing sourdough. And so, you know, if you can find somebody to share a sourdough starter with you, or you can make your own, it just takes a little bit of extra time. That's a lot, you know, more nutritious way to eat bread and, you know, bread products.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, one thing, like I think especially for busy moms, one thing that I really love to include for sahur is smoothies. So I have 3 kids, alhamdulillah, and I cannot tell you how many things I've been able to hide in smoothies that normally, I mean, never in a million years would they touch, you know, but I just put it in a smoothie, and as long as there's a little bit of banana and strawberry in there with it, I mean, they will, alhamdulillah, they'll eat it. I mean, I've been able to put avocado in there, flax seeds, chia seeds, beets, you know, greens like kale and spinach, so many different things. So I find that's a really great option for sahur. You can even do that, a lot of that ahead of time. So you can make like smoothie bags where you have everything that you want, just put it in a bag, and then just add that to the blender with, you know, whatever liquid you're using. And, you know, so that makes it really quick. This year, about maybe 2 weeks ago, I made up, I just spent like a whole morning doing this, and I made up a huge batch of sourdough waffles and pancakes. And I was just like all morning, I was just cooking them up, and then I put them in the freezer. And so now, you know, I'm saving that for sahur. So now we can just grab some of those. You know, you can do the same with muffins, or, you know, you can make zucchini muffins, carrot muffins, so many different things, and just have them in the freezer. And then, you know, you can just defrost it the night before and just warm it up in the oven, and it's nice and quick.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I think that is what Sister Shamila was asking. She was saying that we're used to parathas, right, Dr. Laura? So we're used to it. So for me, I would say to you, Sister Shamila, sorry, I'm so bad with names today. Laura knows I'm just really tired. That's all it is. So basically, I was like you, and I was very used to the whole parathas in the morning. But as I've grown older and as the kids have come along and the children actually can't take the parathas in the morning for some reason, it's really heavy for them. I don't know how we managed to do it, but for them, it's been quite heavy. So they kind of like what Laura's talking about now, like pancakes in the morning or something quick and easy. But we've started having overnight oats. I think you heard Sister Karen talk about them yesterday, but they're also really easy, just like the smoothie bags. You can get them ready beforehand. And what I do, I don't know why my husband hates stuff from the freezer, but this is one thing that he doesn't mind if we make the smoothie bags about a week in advance. But he has issues if I do it before that. I don't know why. Laura, maybe you can shed some light. It doesn't go bad if it's more than a week in advance, does it?
If it's in the freezer, you mean?
Yeah, if it's in the freezer, but he would just want to touch it. He'll be like, no, it's too old now.
He can tell the difference, even if you didn't.
He can't tell the difference. No, it's like paranoia. So if he kind of knows that I've done it like a little bit ahead, or if he sees them there, or some way that he has some magic knowing about it, he's like, no, that's too much. But I do, obviously, because I'm a working mum like most of you guys. But he just has this thing about I have to do it every week. So at least every week there has to be a show in the kitchen with me doing it. But yeah, what I really do suggest, though, definitely is getting the stuff ready. And I was in Laura's Ramadan challenge, which we just finished now. It was amazing. Every day, mashallah, there was like one new thing to get ready for Ramadan. And when you mentioned batch cooking, that's what I was thinking of, to get those ready for them.
Yeah, that makes such a huge difference, I find.
Yeah, definitely. So inshallah, it's brilliant. Jazakallah khair so much. Then we do have rather a lot of questions. So do you think you'll be able to answer them in our Facebook group? Maybe if you answer them in the comments, is that okay, inshallah? Yeah? I'll type them up and I'll put them in the Facebook group, because I feel like we are taking rather a lot of your time, and it is just a few minutes until 10 o'clock. So, 7 o'clock for you guys. So we really appreciate. Laura, what do you think? Today's has been really, really amazing, hasn't it? MashaAllah.
Absolutely. I'm also a freak. People thinking anyway what I'm eating is sometimes awkward. And as you maybe know, I have a German background, so I'm eating a lot of bread, and I miss my German bread. And we were just talking about bread here. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Yes, absolutely. I really did enjoy it, even though I just missed, unfortunately, already a lot. But alhamdulillah, what I heard was absolutely awesome. And we will share more from Dr. Laura. Maybe you have also the possibility to follow her on social media. We're going to share all her links with you in our posts, and we can highly recommend her. And yeah, inshallah, we will get in touch with her. If you have any questions, just again drop them in the comments, and Dr. Laura try to answer them as soon as possible. And for now, I wanted to say very special thanks to you, Dr. Laura. I know it started already quite chaotic. You see how chaotic, even I can't say the word anymore. SubhanAllah, it is a chaotic day today, alhamdulillah, but we have a lot of great sisters who are joined us. But also special thanks to our audience, of course, alhamdulillah, barakallah fik, barakallah fikum. And yes, it was an absolute pleasure to have you here, and inshallah, hope to see you very, very soon. And yeah, hopefully you join to our last roll on Ramadan series, which will be with myself and my project partner, inshallah. We will surprise you tomorrow of our life and sharing about some things from our side, inshallah. So yes, thank you so much, Dr. Laura, for joining us today. It was an absolute pleasure and honor to have you here, and inshallah see you very soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam.